Hello and welcome to VOP Business Show. I'm Kayla Abraham. Now, Global Trade Association of the Institute of International Finance has stated that the global debt has hit a record of $307 trillion in the second quarter of 2023. IIF noted that the record was made despite hikes in the interest rate across the globe, with markets such as the United States, Japan, the UK, and France driving the rise. This comes after the National Bureau of Statistics revealed that Nigeria's public debt stock, which includes external and domestic debt, stood at 87.4 trillion naira in the second quarter of 2023 from 49.9 trillion naira in the first quarter of 2023, indicating a growth rate of 75.3% on a quarter-on-quarter basis. Nigeria's total external debt stood at 33.3 trillion naira in the second quarter of 2023, while total domestic debt was 54.13 trillion naira. The group, in its Global Debt Monitor report, published on Tuesday that the world's debt had risen by $10 trillion in the first half of 2023 and by $100 trillion in the last 10 years. The report stated that the latest increase has pushed up the global debt to GDP ratio for a second straight quarter to 336%. Prior to 2023, the debt ratio had been declining for 7 quarters. The previous record for global debt was in early 2022, before central banks across the world started aggressively raising interest rates in a bid to fight inflation. In Nigeria, the Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank of Nigeria has consistently raised the NP rate due to stubborn inflation, which stood at 25.80% in August 2023. The federal government, in a bid to boost electricity generation and national grid stability, is planning to invest $20 billion investment in new power plants and transmission lines. This was revealed by the Power Minister Adebayo Adelabu at an opening ceremony in Lagos yesterday. According to him, the federal government was also ramping up preparations to attain at least 20,000 megawatts of electricity generation in the next 3 years. He noted that energy is the lifeblood of any economy, and no meaningful industrial growth can be achieved without power. Also, the minister noted that the mid- and long-term power generation target is 30,000 megawatts by 2030 and 60,000 megawatts by 2060 is achievable. He also stated that enough investments must be made to not only generate power, but also in how to transmit same to end users. He explained the huge metering gap must be closed in order to ensure that power generated would be transmitted to electricity consumers, who would in turn pay for the services. According to the minister, the Power Ministry has been able to identify 8 million metering gap, advising investors to prepare for a long-term investment in the sector. He also disclosed that emphasis would also be on renewable energy like solar and wind power, aimed to diversify the energy mix and reduce reliance on fossil fuels to achieve the goals of the Nigerian Energy Transition Plan. Now, the executive director of Dangote Group, Defakumar Edwin, has revealed that Dangote Petroleum Refinery is currently importing crude oil and expects its first crude cargo in 2 weeks' time. Although the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited trades crude oil on behalf of Nigeria, Edwin, in an interview with the S&P Global Commodity Insights on Monday, disclosed that the NNPCL had committed its crude to other entities. Although he did not disclose the other entities receiving the oil company's crude, but NNPC disclosed last month it had entered into a $3 billion crude oil for loan deal with African Export-Import Bank. The deal will allow the company to pledge future oil production to the bank as repayment for the loan. Also, NNPC stated that the company had entered into crude oil contracts with a number of entities, a development that made it impossible for the organization to meet Dangote's need earlier. Also, Edwin pointed out that the importation of crude oil by Dangote refinery was temporary, as the firm would receive supply from NNPCL from November. Edwin went ahead to state that the firm would begin the production of up to 370 barrels per day of crude that would also give rise to automotive gas oil, popularly called diesel, and jet fuel in October 2023. For premium motor spirit, popularly called petrol, he stated that the plant would produce it by November 30, 2023. This came as oil marketers stated that the prices of diesel and jet fuel would only crash when the Dangote refinery starts receiving crude oil from Nigeria and not by importing crude. The International Air Transport Association has stated that as of August 2023, Nigeria accounts for $783 million of airlines blocked funds. This was contained in a statement by the Trade Association, which stated that the IATA's Regional Vice President for Africa and Middle East, Kamil Al-Awadi, has had engagements with the federal government to resolve the situation. This was reported that foreign lines operating in the country have been unable to repatriate their commercial revenue amid a protracted scarcity of forex. According to the statement, the IATA is impressed with the commitment of the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria to improving infrastructure and service levels at Lagos's Murtala Mohammed International Airport within 12 months. It noted that last year, the IATA raised concerns over a number of safety, security, and passenger service level concerns at the Lagos Airport. It also stated that a high-level meeting between IATA and FAAN, represented by the Managing Director Chief Executive Officer Kabir Mohammed last Friday, culminated in FAAN undertaking to expedite improvement in these areas under a corrective action plan. Nigerian Airlines will soon commence flights to the United Kingdom and other European countries following the third country operator certificate obtained by the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority for the affected airlines. With a third country operator, the airlines designated to the UK or some EU countries can apply to operate without much hassle. It will be recalled that the Air Peace chairman, Alan Onyema, recently raised concerns over the denial of the airline from flying to London. It was learned that through the intervention of the NCCAA, all the encumbrances before Air Peace had been cleared. Apart from Air Peace, Omni Blue Airline also secured the third country operator's courtesy of the NCAA, even as United Nigeria Airlines had also been designated to fly to the UK. The Director General of Civil Aviation, Captain Musa Nuhu, who confirmed this on the sidelines of the 7th Aviation African Summit and exhibition hosted by Nigeria and attended by 1,500 participants from 75 countries. However, Nuhu advised airlines to always carry the CAA along while negotiating with another country. He stated that the practice had been that many privately owned airlines would be negotiating flights with another country without carrying the CAA, allowing only to return to the authority when they ran into hitches. According to Nuhu, airlines that are designated to fly into another country should come to the NCAA and the authority would write and introduce them to that country and assist them. The International Monetary Fund has stated that Nigeria and other emerging markets and developing economies need $3 trillion annually through 2030 to finance their development goals and the climate transition. The global lender stated this in a new report. In the report, IMF stated that its new research found that many countries have the potential to increase their tax-to-GDP ratios, enabling them to provide critical government services by as much as 9 percentage points through better tax design and stronger public institutions. The report noted that making use of that potential would also contribute to financial development and private sector entrepreneurship. It added that easier financing, together with efficient and well-targeted spending, including strengthening social safety net, would go a long way toward delivering sustainable development. According to the report, the average tax to GDP ratio in emerging markets and developing economies has increased by about 3.5 percentage points to 5% since the early 1990s, driven primarily by taxes and consumption, such as value-added and excise taxes. IMF further noted that improving public institutions, including reducing corruption to the level of those in emerging market economies, would result in an additional 2.3-point increase. It also stated that emerging market economies could raise their tax to GDP ratio by 5 percentage points on average, while improving their institutions to the average of advanced economies could raise an additional 2 to 3 points. The Nigerian Communications Commission has announced a new numbering format for fixed lines in the country. According to NCC, this is in keeping with its responsibilities under the enabling law, the Nigerian Communications Act 2003, to manage Nigeria's numbering resources. In the process, Nigeria's fixed lines numbering format has changed from 8 digits to 10 digits by just adding O2 prefix before the existing fixed numbers. The Commission clarified that all the new number formats will be allowed to run concurrently till cut-over date, which is December 31, after which from January 1, 2024, the new fixed line format will assume full recognition across all networks. The Commission stressed that the numbering change will only affect fixed telephone numbers, stating that there is no change to the existing mobile numbering format of 11 digits in the country. And that's all on VOP Business Show and VOP TV. We would like you to subscribe and engage us in YouTube. It is Voice of the People TV. And on other social media platforms at VOP TV Live. I'm Kayla Abraham. Thanks for watching.